Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about here is the card breakdown. And the first type of card I want to talk about is the hero. As you can see here, this hero is called the Tinkerer. So I'm going to go over basically what this is. First you have the life. That is going to be represented in the blue orb. Then the attack in the red orb. And then the defense in the green orb. Then you'll have the character type, the ability, then the card type, then you'll have the level of what this character would be, and then the gold, how much is it worth, how much can I buy it for, and of course the class. So like I said, the first thing we'll go over is the life. How much life does this character have? 40. Attack, this character can do 40 damage. And then defense. The defense is when, say another Tinkerer was versing another Tinkerer, it would take away 0 defense, but say he had 10 defense, he would subtract 10 from 40, and then that character would only do 30 damage, leaving me only 10 life as a Tinkerer. And then character type. This kind of coincides here with the card type. This type of character is a hero, but you have different card types. You have characters, you have items, and then you have summons. Now we'll take a look at ability. Abilities happen right when you place that character into the dungeon. For example, Tinkerer has the ability called Chain, which can attack 2 separate monsters at the same time each turn, which is a great ability. But as you can see, the Tinkerer is a level 2. Now, you level up in this game as a guild master, hiring all these heroes. Well, heroes can sometimes level up as well, providing them additional abilities. As you can see, when you level to level 3, here earns a new ability called Voltage, which is gain 20 additional attack and causes paralyze. That's an amazing ability because you're gaining better stats. Next is the gold. So what you have here is you have the number 2. That's used to buy or sell. What I mean by that is, say this Tinkerer is in the guild. It costs 2 to buy. Or if you had the Tinkerer in your hand, you can sell this Tinkerer for 2 gold. So it can go both ways here. And then you have classes, and this is hero specific for now. You have melee, you have range, and then you have magic. Melee can attack one other melee monster or one magic monster in the dungeon. Range can attack one melee, one range, or one magic monster in the dungeon. Then you have magic. They do a lot more damage but cost more gold to purchase, but they damage all monsters in the dungeon at the same time. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to talk about are monsters. I'm going to talk about a few things that I left out with the heroes, but the first thing I'm going to go over are the shards. Then next I'll talk about the attack type, then the reward, and then last, the rarity. Now shards are monster specific. When you defeat a monster, some monsters will provide a shard. You can use shards to level up. So if I wanted to level up to a level 1 or a level 2, I would spend 1 shard for a level 1. If I wanted to go straight to level 2, I'd have to spend 2 shards. You need at least 10 shards to beat the game, so you have to really kind of plan it out accordingly. Do I want to try to level up right now, defeat some higher ranking monsters, or do I want to try to hoard them so I could try to hurry up and beat the game before harder monsters come out? That's really up to you. Next is the attack type. All heroes and all monsters have at least some kind of an attack type. This, for example, has a fire attack. It's more of a reference, but some abilities actually can render that attack. So some will actually say, hey, you know what? Fire attacks do not do damage to me. Or, hey, while this card is on the field, fire attacks do double damage. So you want to plan it out. Next we have the reward. The reward is an additional reward to the shards that you get when you defeat a monster. So for example, with the Overseer, you get 1 shard. Plus, you get to draw a card. And when it says draw a card, you're drawing from the starter deck. And then last, you have rarity, which represent the number of those type of cards in the game. Bronze will represent 3 different cards. Silver will represent 2 different cards. For example, there are 2 Overseers in the game. Then you have gold, which is only 1 of those type of cards in the game. And then blue, and that's to represent the starter cards. One thing I want to talk about while we're talking about the monsters are the monsters' attacks. Monsters are placed in a monster deck. When they enter the dungeon, they do what is called an ambush attack, which all heroes that are in that monster-specific class, for example, the Overseer is a melee. If you had the Tinkerer in the dungeon as well, it would receive 40 damage. Say you had two Tinkerers in the dungeon, they both would receive 40 damage. An ambush attack attacks all of that class specific in the dungeon. But say I had two melee and one range class hero in the dungeon. Again, the Overseer would only attack the melee and would not affect the range. Range monsters will attack range heroes, and then magic monsters, just like the heroes, will attack all heroes in the dungeon. The last type of attack is called the counter attack. Say the Tinkerer tried to attack the Overseer. The Overseer would last until next turn. So the Overseer then would counter and deal 40 damage to the Tinkerer. But say multiple heroes tried attacking the Overseer, and the Overseer still lasts until next turn. All heroes that tried attacking the Overseer would also receive 40 damage. This would continue to happen until the Overseer was then discarded. So here's the game board. You have the dungeon at the top and the guild at the bottom. You're going to have 3 different decks built of random cards. First, you're going to have the guild deck, then the monster deck, and then the starter deck. You're going to start placing the heroes into the higher positions. After that, draw a monster card. Then you're going to draw 5 cards from the starter deck. The 5 cards here are the villager, an ambrosia, a forest bow, and then the fireball. We're going to place those aside for now. So let's take a look at what we're facing here. We have the living sword. The living sword has silence, which means on ambush attacks, it also damages the magic class heroes. It has 30 life, 60 attack, and 20 defense. So let's take a look at our hand again. We have 2 villagers, we have an ambrosia, a forest bow, and then a fire spell book. Well, the 2 villagers, they do have 20 attack, but the living sword has 20 defense. That will not help us here at all. So what we can do is we can use our ambrosia. Our ambrosia will automatically level us up, so we discard the ambrosia, and now we are level 1. Alright, so now we're going to let the monsters take their turn. The living sword's going to move to floor 3, and a new monster will come out. That new monster will do ambush attack if any of our heroes were in the dungeon, but there are none, so we're safe for this turn. Alright, so anytime you draw a card from the monster deck, you automatically draw a card from the starter deck. And look, we have another ambrosia, so let's discard that, which will make us level 2. We're also going to discard our forest bow, and that's going to give us 2 gold to buy the Tinkerer. We're going to place Tinkerer in our hand, and then draw a new card from the guild deck to place into the guild. Again, we can't do much on this turn without being countered by monsters. So, the living sword is going to move to floor 2, basilisk to floor 3, then we're going to draw a new monster card. Let us also draw a card from the starter deck. Great, now we have a squire. Now we can start doing some damage to some monsters. Keep in mind, once 3 monsters escape and get to the opening of the dungeon, we lose the game. So we really need to stop them, because again, we need at least 10 shards to win the game. Alright, so let's place our squire, our 2 villagers, and our tinkerer into the dungeon. So we're going to choose the overseer to attack. It's going to give us a shard and a reward to draw a card. So let's discard the overseer. Now you would place a shard into your possession and then draw a brand new card. Things to keep in mind. You have 4 melee heroes in the dungeon. If another melee monster comes into the dungeon, it will do an ambush attack, attacking all melee heroes. Alright, so that is the basic rundown of Tactic Legends. Now there are a lot of things I didn't talk about, like summons, treasures, and certain items, but I'm not going to give everything away. And you can easily make this game easier by just removing shards that you need to receive, or adding shards by making it harder. You can kind of play with this to make it a little bit more flexible for you. If you do like this, please subscribe, like it, and comment. Let me know what you think. Alright, it's been great talking to you guys, and I hope to hear some feedback. Thanks.